This is like low-key turning out to be one of my best beats, not even kidding. Yeah. I'm so glad I started recording this. I'm loving this beat right now. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the video. Thanks for clicking on it. Today I'm going to make a drill beat. I'm not going to try and do anything crazy. I just want to practice my melodies, and hopefully by watching the way that I lay out my beat, you can learn a thing or two. Real quick, if you're a producer or a trap or drill artist from Australia, make sure you leave a comment below. I YouTube Australian producers or Australian drill producers. Nothing really comes up, and I'd love to follow you guys and see the sort of community that we've got out here. With that said, let's get straight into the beat. I'm going to go with the typical piano sound for the drill melody. I'm just going to try and lock that down and make a really decent one, because that's really my worst point, is making melodies. So once I've got a nice melody down, we'll move on to the drums and hopefully we can make a banger. So starting off with the good old-fashioned Fruity Loop keys, I'm just going to make a chord progression. I'm going to go with 142 for the tempo. One of the key things with drill beats these days is that the melody doesn't go too crazy, as in each chord next to each other doesn't change too much. I have these two chords here and I don't have any note that's the same as the next one. So for example, I'll just bring this G down to an F sharp and it just carries on that same sound. So the sound still changes, but it just sounds more connected, if it makes sense. So we have these two notes here that are connected and these two notes here. So you notice how when I play it, the two first bars sound connected, then there's a massive shift in the sound in the middle, and then the second two chords sound connected. So I'll put half speed on that, and also this, I'll just pull up another thing of grow speed to show you. I put this preset on, half speed and sidechain, which does this. But I'm going to delete all these points so that it just has the effect on the start of the first bar. It sounds like this. And then I'll put this EQ on it. That sounds really like the start of a drill song right there, so I'm happy with that. Now I'm just going to add a few more notes just to give it a bit more colour. So I drag the chords over only to make it an 8-bar loop. I'll change a few of the notes of the chords just to make it a bit different, and then change the single notes as well. Okay, so here's the full 8 bars. Happy with that. Like I said, melodies are my worst point, so I think that sounds pretty good. Now I'm going to move on to the drums, just for the sake of getting the bounce and the rhythm of the beat. I'll most probably will come back and add another melody afterwards, maybe some sort of lead or flute or violin or something like that. I think that would match really well. But for now, let's get the clap, the snare, kick and the hi-hat in place so we can feel the bounce of the track. So a quick tip if anyone gets into this sort of problem, I like this snare, but as you can tell it's really quiet and sort of flat. So what I'll do, I'll normalize it, which will just max out the sound in here. And I might put it up 2 semitones, which is 1 note, and change this mode to stretch. I'll show you the difference. So here's it on resampled. It sounds like I've just pitched it up, but if I put it on stretch, just sounds a little bit more naturally that pitch. I like this kick right here, but I feel like there's a little too much unnecessary bass at the beginning. It could be a little shorter with still having that knock to it, so I'm just going to drag this start point out a little bit. Notice how I drag it, it changes the starting point of the sound. So it still knocks, but that bit at the start that I personally thought was unnecessary is now gone, just to make the whole mix seem a little bit more cleaner. With drill beats, I usually pick 2 different hi-hats, one for the normal hi-hat pattern that's typically in drill sounds, and another one that's like a secondary one for rolls and stuff like that. So this one here sounds a bit weird. I wouldn't use it for the main hi-hat, but for effects and rolls here and there. This hi-hat I'll use for the main hi-hat pattern, the typical drill pattern, which sounds like this. And then with the other hi-hat with it, it sounds like this. I always put the same kick and snare pattern to begin with. Once I've done the hi-hats and then added a few more perks throughout the beat, I'll go back and change the kick and snare pattern to something that might fit a bit more with the melody and everything else. I'm loving this beat right now. I don't know about you, but this is like low-key turning out to be one of my best beats, not even kidding. I'm hearing these slides right here. What's a drill beat without 808 slides? I'm like stoked right now. This is turning out to be one of my best beats, I think. So glad I started recording this. Now I'm just going to mix the 808 and the kick, make sure they're not clashing too much, and I'll show you how I personally mix my 808 and my kick. Keep in mind, I don't know the best way of doing it. Haven't been taught by anything. I've watched a bunch of YouTube videos like most of you probably have as well. But this is just over time doing it how I think, how my 808s have sounded a lot better. So I put an EQ on both of them. So you can see this is the 808 and this is the kick. So basically what I want to do, I want to take a few frequencies out of the 808 that I'm going to put into the kick so that it gives room for each other, if that makes sense. And that's basically the whole point of mixing, is just making sure each sound has its own space on the whole spectrum. Depending on how I'm going to arrange the beat, I might have the kick play on its own without the 808. So I want to make sure it still sounds good just on its own. That's why I'll leave a lot more of the high frequencies in the kick. But with the 808, I'm pretty much going to take most of them out so that there's room for the snare and the hi-hats. I'll also put a sound goodizer. This thing is awesome. I'm in the key of B. It basically just makes it louder without peaking. Put a soft clicker on the kick as well. See how much better that sounds? It might sound a bit strange just on its own, but in the mix, it makes all the difference. I'm super happy with that. The mix is halfway there. I'll do a bit more mixing at the very end of the track when I've got all the sounds I want in it. So I think now it's time to put some sort of lead or counter melody on top of this one we've got. And I'm only using the FL keys. Might put a chorus on it. Okay, so now I think I've got enough elements to this beat. I think all it needs now is a couple of crashes and reverse crashes for the arrangement, and then I think we've got a pretty good drill beat right here.